Good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining me here on Point of View. It's such a great day, and I am so thankful to God because He has blessed us to live to see another day. And it is Tuesday, it is the 20th of February in the year 2024. We are set for a day of almost 80 degrees. 80 degrees, and this is still February. So we take it like the Lord allows it to come. He gives it to us, and I am just so thankful. Thankful, thankful, thankful. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today I'm going to talk about when you feel or you are being overlooked. That's what I'm going to talk about today, when you feel or you are being overlooked, because many times we feel it and it is what it is. Oh, yes, it is. It is what it is. So God is good. Yes, He is. Yes, He is. Did I pray? I've been running my mouth. I think I did pray, but if not, I'm going to come back at the end. Thank you, God, for blessing us to see another day. And like I'm talking about, when you feel like we're being overlooked, and that is not what's supposed to be on there. I pushed the wrong thing. Let me go back and get the right subjects for this. Feeling overlooked. Okay, there we go. All right, feeling overlooked. So we're going to go ahead and talk. And I went to psychology today. I went to Psych Central and to other places. So because there are times when we know for a fact that we're being overlooked. We know that, and so many times I know people don't mean any harm, but they want us to take it all on ourselves and say, we're feeling this way and it might be us. And sometimes it might be us. Yes, it might be us sometimes, but it's not always us all of the time. It is not us all of the time. So we have to think about these things, and we have to weigh all of these things so we can be fair to ourselves and fair to our humankind. Be fair, be fair. So let me get back to my screen here. I'm so happy you are here. This is going to be really, 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 really good because I know you felt overlooked, and it wasn't just you feeling that way, but it was really happening to you. You're being overlooked. And it's like I said, it's not always us. And then sometimes we can have a complex where we think it's us, but it's really not us. So we're going to go into that, and I'm trying to get back over to that, to where I can get there. Do this escape here and get this screen down so I can get back to where I need to be on my sites. So I did expand this. So I'm going to have to go here and shrink it if I can get to where I need to shrink it. Okay, there it is. Come on here. Oh, okay, I'm going to get it down there, but we are talking about um, feeling overlooked. So let me get to that feeling overlooked. And I think the first one I'm going to go to is Psych Central. And Psych Central is by Janice Webb, and we've done some work by her before. Janice Webb, PhD, and this is from Psych Central. So feel overlooked sometimes. She's asking a question. She said this may be the reason, and we're going to go down these reasons because it is possible that these are reasons. And so, who doesn't look back at their high school years and cringe? Many of us do. Don't we remember when we were like super thin, and some were super. Let me see, weren't so super thin, and so now it's just the opposite for them. So we look back sometimes when we cringe. Said, and this writer Janet says, "I know I do." She said, "In fact, I have dreams about being back there." So in those dreams, I am not unprepared for a test or breaking up with a boyfriend. She said, I'm not missing the prom or stressed out about too many activities. She said, no, none of that. She said, instead, my high school dreams are always about being overlooked, or more precisely, feeling overlooked. And so you see in my topic there, I put feeling or being overlooked. So I put feeling and being, feeling slash being, because there's a possibility of it being us feeling it and it not being happening at that time, or we do feel it and it is happening. Okay, so over the years, with all the experiences I've had, both personally, this is Johnny's talking, and professionally, she said, I've come to the conclusion that overlooked is one of the most insidious emotions that a person can feel. It's like an emotion that you can feel, and then it can become a dangerous feeling also. And it could be harmless, but it could turn out to be dangerous because of the emotional uh, degree, okay? The height of the emotional degree. So, and she said, I've also realized that many folks experience this feeling often. She said, for these people, when with groups of friends or at work or at family gatherings, she said this particular emotion just hangs around almost as if it's waiting to be felt. So overlooked, invisible, unseen, marginalized, ignored. Okay, so in a 2014 study, I'm in Psych Central here. In a 2014 study, Sandra Robinson compared the psychological damage done to employees in the workplace by bullying versus exclusion. And this is very interesting. And I believe I can kind of understand what she's saying here, what this study, the results of this study are. She said they found that being ignored by coworkers was more harmful to people's emotional well-being than being mistreated by them. And I feel like they feel, well, at least they see me, but hey, I don't go for it. So why does it seem that some people appear to be slated for the limelight, while others are more the type to stay? And I looked up at limelight because Elder David used to say, be in the lamplight. He said limelight, it meant limelight, in the limelight. And then we've heard people say they're in the limelight. They love to be in the limelight all the time. And I looked that up today, talking about the limelight, and it's very interesting. It's very interesting. So let me go to that, see if I can get to it here. Yeah. Because limelight is, it was a light that they used before electricity, and they used it, what was it, hydrogen, I think it was hydrogen and oxygen, and they would light it, and it would focus on, I think, some lime, and that would light up the area that needed to be lit up. And then came along, was coming along, then the electricity came along. So I wanted to say something about that, the limelight. So I'm going to try to get over there because I really want to say something about it. And it shows a picture of it. It said the limelight. Limelight is a non-electrical type of stage lighting once used in theaters and music halls, and was the first solid state lighting device. And so that's the limelight. Okay, and then it talks about, I guess I'll go a little further than that. Let me see, in the music halls, and was the first solid state lighting device. An intense illumination is created when a flame fed by oxygen and hydrogen is directed at a cylinder of quick lime, which can be heated to 2,572 degrees Celsius before melting, and is produced by a combination of incandescence and candoluminance. okay, candle luminance. And although it has long since been replaced by electric lighting, the term is nonetheless, it has survived. So that's what the limelight is, okay? So Sandra Robinson compared the psychological damage, and then it wants to know why we feel like we're not in the limelight when some people are in it, and why we're just sometimes left out. So they found out that being ignored hurt a person worse than being bullied. Isn't that something? In this study. So why does it seem? The question here again. Why does it seem that some people appear to be slated for the limelight, while others are more the type to stay outside of it? So do limelight people have some special secret to get noticed, or do overlooked people or folks really deserve to be overlooked, or somehow choose to be unseen? Sometimes we can choose to be unseen, okay? So there's another study that helps answer these questions. As it turns out, it may mostly boil down to self confidence. Confidence seems to carry for more power. Excuse me. Confidence seems to carry far more power over the people's perceptions of you than was ever realized before. So I told you there's a study just about for everything. There's a study, there's research, and I really am glad for it because it helps me to learn more and more and more. And I am so thankful, so thankful, so thankful. Oh, yes. So let me get to this part right here. There's Lamba and Nityananda, okay? And it's 2014. They found that people who are overconfident in their own abilities are viewed as more talented by others than they really are. Overconfident people are more likely to get better jobs, be offered leadership positions, and be elected to public office. So, interesting, this study discovered that the opposite is also true. Those who are underconfident in their own abilities are viewed as less competent than they actually are. And that's true. Some people think because people don't talk a lot, don't jibber jabber, don't get all in their conversations and all of that, that something is wrong with them. Oh, she this and he's this and he's stuck up and they don't like communicating with people, all that kind of stuff. Where some seems like most of the time we view it in a negative side. So the results, you know what you have to offer, but others can't seem to see it. That's frustrating, it's devastating, and invalidating. We talked about what is it? Validating the other day. Validating, what was it? Was another word was in there too. Validating ourselves. That is frustrating. It's devaluing and invalidating. Being viewed as less competent than you are is literally a recipe for not being seen. Furthermore, if you grew up in a family that failed to notice your strengths, and which is an important aspect of childhood emotional neglect, so it may make it harder to for you to see your own strengths. It's a formula for overlooked. And there's some people in families they have been overlooked. And sometimes I don't think the parents intend to do it, but sometimes it just seems like this one is needing more attention to this one, and this one is not ever a problem. And the ones that are usually quiet and not ever a problem seems like they're the ones that are overlooked. And it's not intentional all the time, it's because there's a need somewhere else. So is it possible that this might be you? If so, you may be wondering what you can do about it. So when she's saying, I understand, here's some advice. So Janice is giving us some advice. Here are three steps to find your self confidence and stop being overlooked. 3 steps to find your self confidence and stop being overlooked. Number one, start paying closer attention to yourself. Good morning, Bill. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, cousin Ronnie. So good to have you here with me today. We're talking about being overlooked, and I think we've all experienced that. And so now it's telling us to take a look at ourselves, but just hold on. We're going to go to the other side of this too, because it's not always us. And many, I think sometimes more than half of the times out of 100, it's not us. Okay, it's not us. Start paying closer attention to yourself. Take note of what you are good at. And I do mean that literally, she says. She says, start a list of everything you notice about yourself that could be regarded as a strength. Do not overthink any particular item. If it occurs to you, then it's real. So write it down. Go back and read this list often. It will serve as a reminder of your own abilities, your skills, your positives, and your powers. They are yours to own, and you must claim them. Number two, pay attention to when you feel overlooked. Knowing when you get this feeling can be very helpful, okay? Knowing when you get this feeling of being overlooked can be very helpful. Does it happen more at work? Does it happen more in your marriage? Does it happen with your family? And when, or does it happen when you're alone? Thank you so much for being with me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So this matters because it's possible to lack confidence only in certain areas of your life or only around certain people or kinds of people. And this is for real truth, for real truth. So, learning more about your overlooked feeling can tell you where to focus your self confidence efforts. Number three, stop assuming that other people are better or more able than you are. And so many times we can get into that frame of mind, say, well, they are better than me, and they're so much better. And we, in our childhood, sometimes we have looked at other people because of vibes we've gotten from our parents or other people and their values and how they see things. Those things come to us also. And sometimes, in like when we were younger, we always out, it was a thing that lighter skinned people are better than darker skinned people. And that thing was a complex, and sometimes it still is a complex within our ethnicity. It really is. The lighter skinned people are prettier, they're better than us. But I learned that we are all the same, and no matter what our skin tone is, we are all the same people. Nobody is better than anybody else. Somebody might be educated in a certain field and be an expert at this or that or the other. Whatever that field is, that has nothing to do with them being a better person than you. Okay? Nothing. And sometimes we have been, what is it, stigmatized, should I say that? Because we've uh, thought that maybe if a person's a doctor, if they're a lawyer, if they're a teacher, then they're better than us because we're not in those positions. We didn't choose those occupations for ourselves. And so it's been a thing that if they have this degree, if they have this, that, or the other, that they are better than you. But no, 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 no. Who is that said, you are somebody? I am somebody. I am somebody. You are somebody. Because and then I think of this, and I heard somebody say this, and this is what I think. People choose their own careers. They choose what they want to do in life. Everybody doesn't want to go to a college. Some people like to go to trade school. Some people already have trades that they have learned since they were young that they can just go into business right now for themselves and thrive. And so many people that so we all have our own desires, our own goals and everything, and that makes none of us any better than the other. Okay? No better than the other. Now it matters our emotion, our dispositions, our attitude and all that now that is a different thing, okay? So number three, stop assuming that other people are better or more able than you are. Now you know the folks who seem naturally superior may look that way simply because of their confidence level. Evaluate people by their specific strengths, not their overall presentation. That's exactly what I was saying, but I went a long way around to say it because I wanted to break it down. And do the same. Look at this and do the same for yourself. What is she saying? Evaluate people by their specific strengths, not their overall presentation. Because people can put on a facade, they can fake it real good, okay? And some people fake it because they have to make themselves be better than what they feel about themselves so that they will be able to stand their feelings of being inferior to other people. There's so many things that we're going through our minds and so many emotions we have and everything, and we have some emotions that we use to compensate for some of the others that might be weak where they might not need to be weak. Okay, now she says she's going on to talk about her high school days. She says since high school I've learned a lot about myself. She said I now realize that I have some good strengths and I have a far better idea about what they are. But like most people, life is a continuous learning process. It is continuous learning. That's why I love this studying. I love doing point of view. I love learning and sharing. And for some people, it's reiterating things that they might already know, bringing things back to their remembrance. So she said, I expect I'll always have these overlooked high school dreams, and I'm okay with that. I know there will be times in the future when I will be and feel overlooked. It is a natural part of life, after all. But those dreams will always serve as a reminder for me to never take a backseat again, to never underestimate myself, and to never unwittingly choose overlooked again. Value yourself. We're going to get into that. You know, we always talk about self esteem and self value. Okay? Childhood emotional neglect, that's CEN, the acronym, CEN is the acronym, is often the cause of low self confidence and being overlooked. So, since CEN is so subtle and invisible, listen to this childhood emotional neglect is subtle and invisible. It can be hard to know if you have it. So there is a test here, a free test on this site, which is psychcentral.com. It's talking about feeling overlooked. And you can take that test. Okay, so now I'm going to my other here, focusing on good that others may help you get your mind off of feeling overlooked. So we're going to go to this right here. Three ways to cope with feeling overlooked. Three ways to cope with feeling overlooked. So here we go. I think this is one I had thought I wasn't going to do today, but it is here. So let me get on. Hello. Hi, David. How you doing? Thank you so much for being with me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Talking about feeling overlooked. How to cope with feeling overlooked. It is co-authored by Ashlyn Mullen. Okay, Psych D. Ashlyn Mullen, and this was last updated in November on November 27, 2023. So, feeling like you are overlooked more often than being actually seen can take a real toll on your self-esteem. No one likes to be ignored, particularly when you feel like you're not getting the recognition you deserve. You can cope with the feeling overlooked by taking responsibility for your role, okay? Taking steps to become more noticeable and caring for yourself. Now, I'm going to get into another part of this because it's not always you, it's not always me that's responsible for not being recognized, properly recognized. I'm going to get into that, okay? Next is telling us, this is WikiHow, telling us take responsibility for your role. Take responsibility for your role. Let me get this. So here we go. This is WikiHow. And it's telling us speak up. Speak up. Because some people are tender, some people are very soft, and they seem like they're naive, but they are not. That's why we have to really be careful on how we judge people. Okay? Speak up. You are the best person for the job when it comes to defending yourself. You are the best person for the job when it comes to defending yourself. Let others know when you feel like you're being taken advantage of or being treated unkindly. You are less likely to be walked all over if you begin speaking out about what you don't like. So, this is because you can teach other people how you want to be treated. That means that if you tell people when something bothers you, then they will be less likely to repeat the behavior. Now, for instance, our first point here is for instance, if someone doesn't acknowledge you when they need help, you could say, I can handle the task you're talking about. I'd love to help you out. So, by speaking in this way, you are coming off as friendly and willing to help instead of being quirky and self centered about it. Okay? Now, here's another. Number two, change your perspective. If you really feel you're being overlooked, then you should take action. And I believe this, you should take action. But for minor offenses, changing your outlook on the situation can make you feel better about it. So be willing to let little things slide to avoid feeling offended when there is no offense. So by simply readjusting your thought process, you may be able to stop feeling overlooked when it's the proper time to feel overlooked, okay? Okay, because we're going to take a turn here, all right? For example, instead of thinking to yourself, my friends never ask me to babysit their, she said kids here. You know, I don't like to call children kids, but I didn't write this, okay? I'm going to say this, okay? She said, my friends never ask me to babysit their kids, but ask others. You could say, I'm glad my friends don't take advantage of me and pawn off their children off on me all the time. And the next point is practicing gratitude is a great way to reframe your perspective in a healthy, balanced way. Then the next point is try thinking of times where your negative, self doubting thoughts don't show up. Next point, remember your negative thoughts are no real, are, your negative thoughts are not real unless you start buying into them. Okay. Then, number three, examine your abilities, ways to look to deal with being feeling overlooked. Okay. Number three, examine your abilities. You think you're always the best person for the job, but are never asked to do it. It could be because you're not as well equipped for it as you think you are. Humility and honesty can be a difficult pill to swallow. However, they may help you understand why you are often overlooked. You can determine if your skills are lacking by asking the person what you can do to improve. If you can't offer any constructive criticism, or if they can't offer any constructive criticism, there's a good chance you have an inaccurate opinion of your skills. Okay, number four, consider whether your personality causes you to be ignored. Now, these are some things that we really should consider, but don't be hard on yourself, okay? Take a look deep inside and ask God to let you see where you are lacking, wherever you are lacking, and help you to overcome it. But it doesn't mean that it's always your fault, except for being you, that you're being overlooked. Consider whether your personality causes you to be ignored. A quiet and shy demeanor can be the reason you are overlooked. You may not put yourself out there enough, or people may think you just are not interested. So, the first point here in this is try to become more involved with others if you believe your shyness is the reason for your exclusion. Talk more and step out of your comfort zone. You may find that you are no longer overlooked if you start making yourself more available. I'm going to talk about this. It was it was a movie that I saw. What was this movie? Gosh, I can't think of the name of it, but I think I watched it week before last. And this young lady was in there, and they were dealing with a terminal sickness in the family. And so she was one of the two caregivers for the person. And so she had been so, I think, yeah, neglected by her mother until she just started whatever her classmates suggested. She would just go along with it, just go along with it because she had been mistreated by her mother and taken advantage of and then neglected for the other person. Okay? And so anything that they said, she just went with it, whatever it was. So it's not always you, sometimes it's because of neglect that you feel. So making yourself more noticeable. And this is going to be some positive, not just saying, well, you do this and you drink this, or you smoke this, or whatever, or you do this, and all that kind of stuff. You don't have to do anything wrong, okay? No, no, no. Number one, ask why you are being overlooked. Ask why. Making yourself more noticeable. This is the second section of this. Making yourself more noticeable. Ask why you are being overlooked. And sometimes people are offended because of how dare you question me. Honey, you have to take care of yourself, okay? You have to be satisfied with yourself. Ask why you are being overlooked. Pull the person aside who you feel is overlooking you and ask them about it directly. This is especially effective if you're feeling slighted in this way by your family and friends. So, having an honest conversation about this can help you understand what is going on and possibly help you feel better. So, sometimes, now, I'm going to put this in here, when you question people about things like that, sometimes they're flabbergasted and shocked that you would ask them this, and they would do anything to avoid coming down and telling you the truth. I'm jealous of you, okay? Because sometimes that is exactly what it is. Sometimes people don't want to have a conversation about it, so avoid being confrontational when addressing the person. You could say, I feel like we aren't as close as we were before, and I'm feeling left out of a lot of things. Do you feel like this too? So, asking them how they feel gives them the opportunity to state their opinion as well, so they don't feel like it is a one sided conversation. So you have to use tact. You have to use tact with people, okay? So go to the next one. Number two, treat others how you want to be treated. Don't we talk about this quite often? Think of yourself when you're dealing with other people. Treat others how you want to be treated. We're talking about feeling overlooked or being overlooked. Show people your gratitude for them and tell them how much you appreciate them often. Doing so may encourage them to do the same towards you. Give someone praise even if it is for something small. This can be particularly helpful for them, especially if they are feeling overlooked also. Focusing on the good that others do may help you get your mind off of feeling overlooked. You may then start to realize how much others do as well. The next one is be sure to include other people as well. This may increase the chances that they will include you in their plans in the future. And I've tried that, gone out of my way sometimes to make sure of how this thing is going. Is it me or is it them? Or is it a little bit of both of us? But is it them or is it me? Find out. Do it for you. Do it for you. Stop working so hard to get noticed. Instead, do it because you feel a sense of pride from it. Pride for yourself, okay? Feeling good about yourself and the work you are doing can build your confidence and self esteem. So, over time, having this increased sense of pride in yourself could affect your personality and appearance, which could ultimately make you more noticeable. And I want to say this sometimes, they say you feel overlooked. Somebody, oh, you just imagining that. No, you're not always imagining it. Okay? Sometimes you're just being flat overlooked and left out. So you have to realize that. Okay? So I'm going to get to some more. Enhance your natural traits. Let's see what time it is. Okay. Oh, I'm doing good. Doing good. Enhance your natural traits. You don't want to be someone you're not just to avoid being overlooked. Don't be someone you're not just to be avoided being overlooked. You should feel comfortable being yourself. This is very important, okay? You should feel comfortable being yourself. You don't have to be anybody else but you. But it may also help to take it up a notch, okay? So just be a little more outgoing, outspoken, or driven. Take a good look at yourself and figure out what really defines you. Then try to enhance those traits, okay? Take care of yourself. Look inside yourself and find out what you need to do to enhance a little bit. Sometimes it's not that you need to do anything, it's just that people need to realize and check themselves. Okay? All right. So talk to others about what you're passionate about or put a little more work into the things you enjoy doing. The charismatic part of you will really shine and make it almost impossible for people to overlook you. Then the third part of this is method 3 of 3. How to deal with feeling overlooked, okay? Taking care of yourself. See, this is just about, self care. Uh, what is it? Pep talk. All right? Taking care of yourself. And we're still in Wiki How. Wiki How. Number one, take it as a compliment. And I want to say this about WikiHow. I've donated once and I'm going to donate again because I guess they thrive on donations. So it's a good thing because I like WikiHow. I like it. Okay, so you can donate to WikiHow. All right. Number one, take it as a compliment. Being overlooked or not receiving the recognition you deserve can sometimes be a sign that you are dependable and typically do a good job. People may naturally expect great things from you. Therefore, you are not always recognized for doing good. Next point here, the next time you are overlooked for praise, tell yourself, this isn't about me not being good enough. It's about other people's insecurities about me. And that is a thing right there. They're insecure within themselves about you. Okay, so you are an intimidation to them in many, many instances and in many situations. Okay, all right. And then some people look at you and they misjudge you. And like they were saying earlier in the articles that I did in Psych Central, hey, they could misread you and think because you're not always, hey, 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 me, or loud and boisterous or uh, braggadocious, as they say, that you are not equipped for whatever needs to be done. So don't compromise your integrity by not being as good as you are just so you'll receive recognition. Stay true to yourself by being yourself. And I say, you get tired of dumbing down just to please somebody else. And there are so many people that dumb themselves down, talking about respecting authority and this and that and the others. You're not supposed to dumb yourself down to please somebody else. Don't do that. And so many of us have been taught like down through the years, and like if we've been in organizations or somewhere, you don't ever outdo the one in authority or this or that or the other. You do what God tells you to do. Okay, so many people have been just beat down, beat down, beat down, beat down. Some people's self-esteem self-esteem is just as low as I don't know, because people, well, you don't do this and you don't, this is what you're supposed to do, this is what, be yourself, take a look at yourself and be the best that you can be. Keep in mind now, because when you're overlooked, it's not always you. Okay, so keep in mind that not being singled out can be a positive thing. Not all attention is good attention, and that's for real too. Number two, make your feelings as important as everyone else's, and that's for real. People who are overlooked often care for everyone else but themselves. Talking about being overlooked. And I'm going to say something else as I come on down the line. Thank you so much. Hello, Lady Patsy. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being with me. Be talking about being overlooked. I'm going to go and I'm going to say some other things too, because you don't deserve to be overlooked. And sometimes it's not because people think you are naive or dumb and all that kind of stuff. It's because you're an intimidation to them. So I want you to keep that in mind too. People who are, but we also remember to treat other people like we want to be treated, okay? People who are overlooked often care for everyone else but themselves. You can stop this by recognizing and caring for your feelings. You should also make yourself a priority. Regard yourself with the same value as everyone else, if not more. So, how do you do that? By doing this, you can stop yourself from being a doormat. Have you ever seen somebody that's we would classify as a doormat? Just people just treat them so bad. And one thing I don't understand is like people who are in charge of projects or in a position of authority, and how people let them cuss them, let them talk to them any kind of way, which I deem is offensive, and just say any and everything disrespectful to them, and like they are their servants or whatever. And they're all working on this job. And I've never understood why people let other people talk to them like they do. They don't have to take that stuff. So by doing this, you can stop yourself from being a doormat. People will learn to stop overlooking and taking advantage of you when you consider yourself just as important as them. Next, value yourself by learning to say no to excessive demands and asking for help when you need it. All right, number three, record your achievements. Hey, it's nothing wrong with thinking about, oh, I achieved this, I've done this, I achieved this. Record your achievements. Write down when you do something well, particularly at work. Having secret evidence of how well you're performing can help when it's time for a promotion and you believe you're going to be overlooked. You can show this to your boss when it's time for your review or when having a meeting about your performance. In this, we do ask your boss to meet with you regularly to discuss how you're doing. Asking often shows that you are interested in doing well, which displays initiative and can put you at the forefront of your boss's mind the next time an opportunity occurs. And now you have to remember this. And sometimes you get on their nerves because they think you're brown nose and all that. And then it's just so much to life, isn't it? So many things to think about in one topic. So many things because there's so many things that play out in one topic. But the basic thing is to make sure that you are okay. Okay? Be sure to praise yourself as well. Take a look at everything you have achieved and give yourself the praise you deserve, even if no one else does. This can help to improve your motivation and your self esteem. Now, and this is how can I cope with being overlooked at work? And this is by Ashlyn Mullet, Site D. So many people know how they've been overlooked when on their jobs, and just it's so many people being overlooked these days. They're not appreciated, and many times it's because of. Let me get here. Let me see. Am I going into this next one here? All right. Let's see. This is Psychology Today. That's not the one I want right there. Let me see here. Let me go back up here, Psych Central, because I want you to realize getting past the stress of feeling slighted, getting past the stress of being slighted. There was one more question that I did ask. One more question that I did ask because I really want to deal with that too. Let me see here. Because that jealousy and envy that causes people to overlook you because, like I said, you are an intimidation to somebody. And when you're being overlooked, hey, you can look at yourself and you can search yourself, say, is it my fault? What have I done or whatever? And then you have to use common sense. You have to listen to yourself. It's not always your fault. It could be envy, jealousy, all of that towards you. Because many times there are people who deserve to be in positions that other people are in, but because of some kind of crookedness that's gone on, those people are in those positions and they will do anything to keep you from being recognized. From being recognized. So, I wanted to talk about this jealousy when people are jealous of you. And I want to make sure I didn't want to do that stress. Hi, Eleanor. Thank you for being here with me. I'm talking about being overlooked today because there's some people, jealousy is a cause many times. And sometimes because we're standoffish and whatever. And then some people encourage us, hey, do a little bit more. Show yourself, speak up sometimes. There are different things, but then most of all, you have to realize that it's not always you. Sometimes it's jealousy and envy. So I had done that. I think it's at the bottom of this page here. I think this might be, yeah, yeah, here it is. So I wanted to put this in there too because you know I like to go all the way around. I just don't want um, it to be one sided because life is not one sided. It's not one sided. So let me get to this. Okay, someone is jealous of you. I hope I don't want this to play as a video. There it goes. And I don't want that to, I don't think it's coming. I don't think it's coming through for you. Let me get over here and stop this. Because this man is really talking about what I really need to stop this. Okay, what jealousy is trying to tell you. And so we're going to probably be talking this single person, first person. I need to stop playing. I don't think so. I'm going to have to. Yeah, I think I got it now. Let me see. Okay. Ooh, they are really talking on here. I don't think you can hear. You'd be so nice if you could. Okay, I'm leaving that. Thank you, thank you. I'm saying thank you again for you being with me. And I've come back in and I want to go back over here. And I was going to talk about sometimes, you know what I said, we check ourselves, we look for do we have any flaws? Do we have things that are causing people to overlook us? Do we have habits of things that we need to brush up on? And some things, you know, do we need to correct ourselves? So always check ourselves. But there's one thing that the Bible says is cruel as the grave, and that's jealousy. Jealousy can cause people to overlook you. And one thing I want to say about sometimes, what that song on the color purple, purple, maybe God is trying to tell you something. So many times being overlooked, and it's just like constantly coming, and you know it's not you all the time, then maybe God is trying to tell you something. While you're waiting on someone else to give you a push or tell you you need to do this, you need to do this for yourself, or you need to, if it's a business, if you have business plans, if you work with someone else and you present ideas to them and they keep brushing off your ideas and all of that. Now you have to make sure that you have what is it, trademarks and all that. And then you know when you start working for some of these companies, they tell you that if you invent something or create something while you're working for them, that they own it. So you have to really, really be careful. But in every situation, maybe God is trying to tell you something. Instead of you sitting around waiting on someone else to tell you what to do or just push you, push you, and then you get angry. Well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But then maybe that's what God was trying to tell you to do all the time. Sometimes, like they say, birds push their uh, birds out of the nest to get them to fly. They say they do that. Sometimes we have to be pushed out of our comfort zone in order to do what we are destined to do. And so, if there's a place or some time where you're just constantly overlooked, maybe you need to gird yourself up and venture out into another direction. And so many of us have done that, and we've realized that this is what was intended for us all along. This is what God had planned for us all along. This is the beginning, but sometimes we have to gird ourselves up. Many times, if we're going to be successful, gird ourselves up and launch out into the deep. That's what we have to do. Sometimes we're used to being here. We're used to being in this comfort zone. We're used to doing this. We're used to having everything at our fingertips. So if we need to do this, we need to do this. Then here it is. We can do this because it's all organized and everything is in place. Sometimes you have to venture out and launch out into the deep because somebody needs your product. They need whatever you have to say. Somebody out there is waiting just for you. Sometimes we have to come out many times of our comfort zone and do what's destined for us to do. So when we keep feeling overlooked, as we say, I know that I deserve this. I know that I can do this. I know I'm destined for this. Then sometimes that destiny is for you to launch out into the deep and go your way, okay? And do what you are assigned to do. And you realize that this is it. And you'll feel that in your mind. You'll feel that freedom. Like I said, when I did what I was supposed to do in 2013, it was just like I exhaled. And I thought about that movie, Waiting to Exhale. I could exhale and leave all of that behind me. Thank you, God. So it's not always your fault. And many times I think more not than it is not your fault that you're being overlooked. And like I said, like this a while ago, I said it could be your fault because of who you are. Okay, it could be people just jealous of you, they're envious of you, and you have to like take a look at yourself with all of the situations, be fair on all fronts, look it over, think about it, and come to a fair conclusion and what is it? A decision as to which way you're supposed to go if you're supposed to go in any direction. Because sometimes these things happen over and over in order to push us out of the nest, push us out of our comfort zone, and do exactly what God has designed and destined for us to do. Many of us are leaders in our own right, leaders in our own right. And sometimes we are sat under, and not saying that we don't learn from other people. No way, no how. I'm not saying that because I'm studying every day, okay, and gathering other people's points of views, other people's opinions, the research and the studies and all that, so I can learn more. So you are a leader in your own right, many of us. And sometimes if we're going to be in a successful position that we're destined to be, God's will for us, our destiny in life, then we're going to have to launch out into the deep and do what is destined for us to do. And I guarantee that you'll be successful at it. I guarantee, but it's not always, some people just sit here and sit here. They know they're being mistreated, know they're being mistreated, and they just sit there and continue to be mistreated when you are just as important as any other person around you in this world. And there are some things you are destined to do for yourself. And so sometimes you have to pick up, sometimes you have to move in a hurry, sometimes you can move gradually and build up to it, and sometimes you just, like me, I had to get up. I tried to get myself together. This was back in the 90s. Tried to get myself together. No, it was back in the 80s, I believe. Tried to get myself together so I could shake it off and go on back in there. But it did not happen. I had to get some yonder. And I thank God that He pushed me out of the nest and He's blessed me in so many, many ways. And He will do the same for you. So it's not always your fault when you're being overlooked. It's not that you're just feeling, you are really being overlooked in many ways. And so what you have to do is gird yourself up, build up that self confidence and that self esteem, and know that you are somebody. Because there's a lot of jealousy and hatred out here in this world, and people will try to snuff you out, smother you and your gifts and talents. And so many people have been victimized and they have not been able to reach the potential that was destined for them by God and by life itself. God, He is life. We know that. And by life, they have not ever gotten to that point because people have beat them down so they worked on their self esteem, worked on their confidence, everything, and just kept them as slaves to themselves. But what I'm saying to you, I had to learn it for myself. Take care of yourself, take care of your self esteem, and do what is best for you. And when you treat yourself good, treat yourself well, and do the things that are best for you, your mind will be so at ease. Sometimes doubt comes in. Am I supposed to do this? Am I supposed to do that? Well, if I do this, they'll say this. I can do that. What if this doesn't happen? But when there is a destiny for you, when God has an assignment for you, I guarantee when you launch out into it, you will never, ever, ever fail. I guarantee. Never fail. So don't give up. Just think about it. Sometimes being overlooked is a way for you to get out of the situation that you're in right now. And so many people can testify to that and attest to that. And I'm just really, oh my goodness, what time is it? Oh, it's 4 minutes. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for being with me. You know how I am. I just love to talk about things. So I love you so much. And God willing, I'll be here on Thursday. And then I wanted to say yesterday we funeralized my cousins, funeralized their mother, who was my first cousin, Rita Rose Cole in Clarksville, Texas. And so I ask you to continue to pray for our family. Many of you know our cousin, whenever things go on in Denison, and then our cousin Lee, Bishop Lee Cole, he is just about at everything that involves our family. And so you might know him. And so it was his mother. So I love you so much. And I hope and pray that your day will be continually blessed. And uh, God willing, thank you so much. Remember, when you're being overlooked, it's not always you. Okay? There's so much in play. So what we have to do is gird ourselves up, build that self-confidence up, build that self-esteem up, and go for the gusto, okay? And you will not go wrong. I love you so much. Enjoy the remainder of your day. Oh God, I'm calling on you. Oh God, I'm enlisting the saints to pray. Can you hear me? Can you feel it? Can you hear it? Can you feel it?